Welcome to this special broadcast of Robins Live. I'm April Bragg, President and CEO of the Robins Regional Chamber, and we are streaming live today on Facebook and YouTube. I'm joined today by Sergeant Eric Gossman with the Warner Robins Police Department, here to talk about some scams that are affecting businesses in our area. Sergeant Gossman, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, wonderful. So I certainly wish we were talking under different circumstances and about different things, but we at the Chamber have received numerous messages today about scams affecting business. I understand a number of them have reached out to the Warner Robins Police Department, and it appears that what the current scam is a phone scam claiming to be the Warner Robins Police Department, advising business owners about an audit and suspicion of fraud. Can you shed some light onto this recent scam and what businesses should do to protect themselves?
Businesses should immediately call the Warner Robins Police Department's main line, and in an effort to confirm that there's any problems going on. But they should know, first and foremost, we don't do any audits of any sort. Law enforcement will not do an audit over the phone or warn you that we're going to do an audit. They should call the whatever agency that they're claiming to be from. So
what information are scammers attempting to get from local businesses by posing as law enforcement? What's their end game?
Their end game is to get either vital information on their customers or the business itself, such as bank account numbers, passwords, access to their email, so they could trick others into being victims of a different types of scams that might be out there.
Now, you and I were talking a little bit before we went live this morning, and in addition to this current effort to basically scare businesses into making fear-based decisions and potentially giving away compromising information, we talked about a couple of other scams. It seems like this time of year and in the spring, we have flare-ups of this activity. And you mentioned that currently it seems like the scammers are targeting some of the COVID relief money. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, they are trying to trick people into protecting their assets or getting relief from debt, things of that nature. That's the people, but the businesses, they're trying to trick them into clicking on links that'll give them access to help and allow them to then prey on others using what looks like legitimate emails or business software to get them to do other things, to give up those types of relief funds.
And so your advice for businesses is that they contact local law enforcement to report this type of activity. You mentioned to me another scam that is involving real estate and targeting that industry as well as residents. Can you explain a little bit about that and kind of the trends that you guys are seeing in our current market about that?
Yes, goes back to tricking employees to click links, which will give the scammers access to their email and their legitimate servers so that they can trick people into sending them money or transferring money to them. The most recent one we've been seeing is a closing scam where they target either the lawyer's office or the real estate office, and then they trick the home buyers into thinking that there's some type of urgency that they need to send the money a different way and to send it now. And before because of the way the housing market is, they rush out and do it because they lose the chance to buy this home of their dream.
Wow. So that's some type of wire fraud that would involve attorneys and financial institutions and real estate entities, as well as individuals purchasing homes. Is that correct?
That's correct. So anytime there's a question about it, don't hesitate to contact whoever you're dealing with to verify that what's being asked is accurate and true.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know one we see in our office quite often that really seems to never go away is gift cards. And so this is one of those phishing scams where they will pose as me or a manager and have a very informal conversation with employees saying, "Hey, can you pick up iTunes gift cards?" Or, "Hey, I have a request." What are you guys seeing in the gift card space? I'm sure we're not the only ones receiving those emails.
No, you're not. Recently, we had an incident with the city where they sent emails and to a department head trying to get them to go purchase gift cards because of something that was going on. And, they eventually figured out that it was a scam because of the unusual verbiage. It didn't match city protocol. So look for those things when you're confronted with, and gift cards, number one, should be a flag. They can get that money and you'll never get it back. You can't stop it.
Absolutely. We have a request for you to turn your mic up just a little bit. So I'll add something while you're doing that. So one of the things that we do when we get those, especially on the gift cards or anything that just doesn't look right, even if it says that it's from me or from someone that is a trusted party that you email with routinely, if you hover over the name in the from line of the email, a lot of times it'll have a lengthy email address that it's from, even though it's posing as the sender. Are there any other tips aside from just language that wouldn't be used that people can do to protect their businesses and their assets against scammers?
If it's not something that you initiated, would be a flag. If it's dealing with gift cards, you've mentioned the verbiage, the grammatical errors that we'll see, and there's always a sense of urgency that they're trying to push towards them.
And I know you mentioned earlier before we got on the call that the FBI is monitoring some of this activity and very interested in some of these most recent scams. Is there a website or any kind of online resource for residents as well as businesses to report any kind of scam activity that they somehow become involved in?
Yes, the website is www.ic3.gov, and they are very interested, and they can reach out and do things that we can't hear locally. A lot of these scams are involving voice over internet protocols that make it almost impossible for us to track, but the federal government might have some tools that we don't have. And it also extends beyond our city and state borders, so they have a little bit more jurisdiction and ability to investigate things.
Very good. And if you or your business has been affected by any of these or received calls, please make sure that you're accessing this website. It's ic3.gov, and also reach out to local law enforcement, whether that's the Warner Robins PD, Houston County Sheriff's Department, Centerville, or Perry PD. Local law enforcement is here to help and support you in any way that we can. I know that not too long ago we had a scam involving local businesses posing to be our local utilities and threatening to turn off power because of a late payment or anything like that. Are you seeing any other types of scams or activities that our audience should be aware of? And I'm going to look and see if we have any questions or comments from anyone watching with us today.
Some other common ones we see is that they get calls from somebody posing as a DEA agent saying that something that might belong to them has been compromised and involved in some type of investigation, encouraging them to transfer monies to either by wire, Western Union, or to get the gift cards, that type of thing.
Okay. So long story short, double check those emails coming through. If you get a call claiming to be law enforcement or your local utility, check the number, hang up, call the actual entity that they're appearing to be, and see if you can't get the issue resolved. And likely there is no issue. Likely it is a scam or a hoax. And just make sure that you're sharing with your employees and team members the necessary steps to look at suspicious email, phone numbers you don't recognize, and information that appears to have some sort of false urgency. Did I kind of capture everything you stated there, Sergeant?
Yes, ma'am. One other thing I just thought of, we've had some over the past few years where they'll call up acting like they're a regional manager or something to that effect, when they'll call the business after hours or late in the evening and tell them to go get gift cards because they've got to transfer money quickly, that type of thing. So make sure your employees are up on those common types of scams that might occur when you're not there.
Yeah, and believe it or not, these even happen over text message.
Yes.
And so that's probably one of the easier ones to fall for, because they are able to spoof numbers and can really make you feel like it is your employer or manager asking for these things. We have a running joke in our office that I'm always looking for $50 iTunes gift cards, because that seems to be the magic number that they're always asking for. But all of our chamber members out there know that we're not just handing out $50 iTunes gift cards. So our staff is certainly aware of that. But they do have just a real knack for mimicking the language and the behaviors. But anything that seems suspicious, always make sure that you're reaching out directly to hearing that trusted party on the other line and confirming that it's not them with a random request. So Sergeant Gossman, thank you so much for joining us for this quick but important issue episode of Robins Live. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we wrap things up?
Nope, just ask and hope and pray that everybody stays safe and well during this time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. That's it for today's edition of Robins Live. Thank you so much to our guest, Sergeant Eric Gossman with the Warner Robins PD. The replay of today's show can be found on the Chamber's Facebook page, as well as our YouTube channel. Please share this post on your personal social media and help us spread the word to prevent our members and the community from falling victim to these scams. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot.